All right. Hey, hey guys, Mr. Baines here to talk about. Hey guys, Mr. Baines here to talk about volume and density. This is part 2 of my two-parter. So previously on my videos, we read this story. Archimedes was asked to find the volume of the king's crown. He didn't know how to do it, and then he got into his bathtub and he noticed the water level go up. Then he ran through the streets without putting his clothes on, screaming, "Eureka." Might think he's crazy, but he's actually a scientist. So what they did is he took his crown and put some water in his bathtub. Then when he put the crown in his bathtub, the water level rose up to this level. So I'd like you to add this to your table of contents with the correct page number and date. This is part 2. Go ahead and pause it. All right. Learning objectives, same as it was in part 1. Find the volume of different objects, determine if objects sink or float based on density, and then be able to draw molecules inside objects with different densities. You guys remember when we talked about mass? It's the amount of matter or stuff inside of an object, and that is measured in grams. Okay? So if I were to put these two boxes of stuff of matter on a scale, box A would weigh less than box B because there are more molecules inside of box B. Just like if you were to put me and a student on a scale, I'm taller than most students, so I have more molecules in me. So I will probably weigh more. All right. What is the mass of this black metal? This is what we would use in class to measure it. There's three little bars there. Write your answer in your notebook. Go ahead and pause it. Okay, if we were measuring this in class, the mass of this metal would be all of these added up together. So it would be 457.9 grams. All right, density is how heavy something is for its size. So you take the mass and you divide it by the volume, m over v. Or you could also say it's how close together the molecules are. The closer together the molecules are, the heavier, the more dense it is. Water is very important because this is where we came up with grams and centimeters cubed and density. Water has a density of exactly 1 gram per cubic centimeter, or 1 gram per milliliter. And every other substance has its own unique density. Water just happens to have a density of 1. Okay, that's going to be important. Complete a tip chart for the word density. That should say density. Then add it to your index with the correct page number. Go ahead and pause it. All right. Here's a couple pictures to help you understand more. So density is how closely the molecules are packed together. The closer they are together, the higher the density. So these objects have the same space, they have the same volume, but object A has more molecules inside of it, so it weighs more. So it's more dense. And this one is less dense. Okay. If you were to take the mass divided by the volume, you would also find that object A is the most dense because the mass is very high here and the volume is the same as this. All right, so here's the example. If the mass of this one is 500 grams and the volume is 50 milliliters, you would get mass divided by volume. So 500 grams divided by 50 milliliters is 10 grams per milliliter. where this one would only have a mass of 200 grams and the same volume as this box. So the density of object B is only 4 grams per milliliter. Therefore, object A has a greater density. Okay. Usually we talk about dense things like solids, metals, heavy things are usually more dense, but we can talk about air this way also. And gases, wood, things that don't weigh very much, feathers. Okay, they have a low density, a lot of space in between the molecules. All right, this is an example I do want you to write down. Okay, pure gold. If I were to measure the volume of some gold and get exactly 100 centimeters cubed, cubic centimeters. So I have exactly 100 cubic centimeters of gold. And I found the mass to be 1,930 grams. What is its density in grams per cubic centimeter? To find this, you would take the mass divided by the volume. So I would take this number, 1,930 grams, and divide it by 100 centimeters cubed to give me this, 19.30 grams per cubic centimeter. This is the true density of gold. Pure gold has this density. Oh, pause it if you need to write down this. Okay. Now I'd like you to calculate the density of silver in your notebook. Go ahead and pause it. Oh, you may use a calculator if you struggle with long division. Go ahead and pause. All right, the correct answer to this is D, 10.46 grams per cubic centimeter. So I would take this number and divide it by 50. Okay, that gives me this. Notice silver has a smaller density than gold. This is gold. This is silver. Silver is less dense. So the molecules inside of gold are closer together than in silver. Now the crown I showed you didn't actually have any jewels on it. The crown I showed you was more of a British crown. In Greece, they would have worn a crown like this. Okay, and it's supposed to be pure gold. So the king would have asked a blacksmith for pure gold. So here's the real story. The real reason why the king needed to find the volume of the crown was to test whether the crown was pure gold or if some silver was added in. He needed to test the density of the crown because gold was known to have a density of 19.30 grams per cubic centimeter, and silver was known to have a density of 10.49 grams per cubic centimeter. So if the blacksmith had put silver in the crown and cheated the king, the density of the crown would be less than 19.30 grams per cubic centimeter. So Archimedes found the mass of the crown. He found it to be 400 grams. He found the volume of the crown to be 25.0 cubic centimeters. Is this crown pure gold? Or did the blacksmith add some silver and cheat the king? So this is why Archimedes had to find it. I'd like you to solve this problem in your notebook. What is the density of the crown? Mass is 400 grams, volume 25 cubic centimeters. Go ahead and pause it. You can use a calculator if you struggle with long division. All right, the correct answer is A. 400 divided by 25 is 16 grams per cubic centimeter. It is not pure gold. This means that the blacksmith put some silver in the crown and cheated the king. As you can imagine, the king was not very pleased with this and probably had that blacksmith killed. So be careful if you are ever a blacksmith not to try and cheat people because we can figure it out. That's it for this video. Go to Google Classrooms and answer the questions about this video. I'll see you next time.